the silent leak. How Japanese wisdom saves you from going broke. You grind for an entire month. You drain every last drop of your energy. You give the absolute prime hours of your day to your job, only to look at your bank account at the end of the month and see almost nothing left. Sometimes a big fat zero. That's when that familiar thought creeps back into your head. If only my salary were higher. If only I made more money, everything would be different. But here's the brutal truth that no modern financial guru will ever tell you. You aren't poor because you don't earn enough. You're poor because your money is quietly evaporating out of your pockets every single day. Take a look at this girl. Haggard face, lifeless eyes after a brutal 14-hour shift. She makes the kind of salary most young people would kill for 3 times the combined income of her parents back in her hometown. But tonight she's catching a late train to run back home. Her savings account has hit rock bottom. After a minor illness, she can't even afford next month's rent. That is the utter exhaustion of someone labeled successful in the big city. Juxtaposed against that chaos is the eerie serenity of an old wooden house. Miss Keiko, 53 years old, quietly steeps her tea. Her husband has been a factory worker for 30 years, earning absolute peanuts. In their entire lives, they've never known the concept of a high income. Yet, when their children grew up and moved out, they uncovered a staggering secret. Their parents were sitting on a massive nest egg. A sum of wealth so large that their daughter working in Tokyo couldn't have imagined it in her wildest dreams. Breaking down in tears, the daughter helplessly asked her mother, "I work myself to the bone in the city, making 3 times what you and Dad make. Why am I always broke, while you manage to achieve something so extraordinary?" Mrs. Keiko didn't give a long-winded explanation. She simply pointed to the kitchen shelf, where a small ceramic jar sat completely empty. Not a single coin inside. The daughter stared back in confusion. Mrs. Keiko said softly, "Every week, before taking money out to buy anything, I look at this jar and ask myself just one question. Will I regret throwing this item away later? If the answer is yes, I don't buy it. This jar is empty because I refuse to fill my life with waste. That isn't some dry Excel spreadsheet packed with complex budget formulas. That is the essence of Mottainai, an ancient Japanese philosophy of living. Waste isn't just lost money. Waste is the silent erosion of the future you could have built. The hidden crack in the dam. Picture a massive hydroelectric dam. One day a hairline crack appears on its surface, no wider than a finger. It's so small the human eye barely notices it. No alarms sound. Nobody rushes to fix it. But water always finds a way through every crevice. Day after day, that crack widens by a single millimeter. Week after week, water quietly leaks out. Silent, undramatic. Until one day the entire dam collapses. The catastrophe looks sudden on the surface, but in reality its fate was sealed by tiny leaks years prior. That is the exact blueprint for how young people's finances are crumbling in the tech era. You don't go broke because of one fatal investment mistake. You end up penniless because of hundreds of invisible cracks every single day. In this era, consumer traps are so sophisticated that you hand over your cash willingly without a second thought. It's the auto-renewing streaming subscriptions, music apps, and cloud storage. You signed up just for a 1-month free trial, then forgot all about it. Month after month, small charges quietly hit your bank account. You think it's negligible? Dozens of tiny leaks added together will drain an entire reservoir. It's the push notifications from shopping apps optimized by AI algorithms. They know exactly when you're feeling lonely or when your boss just chewed you out, dropping a pop-up that reads, "Exclusive sale, 2 hours only," and you hit buy now. You don't buy it because you need it. You buy it to fill an emotional void for 15 minutes, to soothe the peer pressure of seeing everyone around you owning one. Behavioral finance studies have shown the average adult bleeds 15% to 30% of their monthly income on phantom expenses. Not rent, not food, but money spent on mindless convenience and fleeting emotions. The philosophy of Mottainai doesn't force you to slash big fixed living expenses. It shines a spotlight on the invisible leaks lurking in the dark. Because it's those very invisible leaks that are silently draining your future. What is your life energy worth? When Mrs. Ko looked at something she wanted to buy, she never asked, "Can my wallet afford this?" She looked at it and asked, "Is this item worth 8 hours of my husband sweating on the factory floor?" Money isn't just soulless numbers glowing on a smartphone screen. Money is life energy. It's time that you and the people you love will never get back. When you look at it that way, reckless spending suddenly becomes downright terrifying. The Japanese have a very specific word for that gut-wrenching feeling of guilt and regret when something of value is squandered pointlessly. They call it Mottainai. This word doesn't simply mean what a waste. Deeper down, it's the heartache of seeing an object fail to fulfill its true purpose. It's the lump in your throat when good food is dumped into the trash. It's the sting of regret when something you bought sits collecting dust in a corner. And most cruelly of all, it's a life lived without purpose. It is this exact quiet emotion that has empowered generations of everyday Japanese families, build incredible wealth starting from absolute zero. Let's face reality. When you buy a trendy boba tea, take 2 sips and toss it out. When you buy an expensive shirt just to wear it once and shove it in the back of your closet. Someone practicing Mottainai doesn't just see an out-of-style item. They see disrespect. Disrespect toward your own life energy. Think back to what you sacrificed to earn that money. Waking up at 6 a.m., grinding through bumper-to-bumper traffic, swallowing criticism from your boss, and pulling all-nighters to hit deadlines. The money in your wallet isn't just paper with faces on it or digital digits on a banking app. Money is sweat, money is brainpower. Money is the prime hours of your youth that you will never, ever get back. When you blow money on useless things, you aren't just throwing cash out the window. You are literally erasing 2 hours, 3 hours, or even a full day of your own existence on this earth. Mrs. Ko has never read an economics book. She didn't need a financial advisor preaching to her either. She inherited this philosophy from her mother, who inherited it from the generation before her. It's a mindset forged in a nation starved of natural resources, where wasting isn't just foolish, it's ungrateful. Ungrateful to those who have less than you, and ungrateful to your future self, who will be forced to foot the bill for today's impulsive decisions. Mottainai isn't stinginess, asceticism, or self-torture. It is radical clarity. It forces you to pause, see what you already have, truly understand its value, and resolutely refuse to let your life energy vanish into thin air. The 4 pillars of financial fortress. The philosophy of Mottainai isn't preachy advice or high-minded theory on paper. Through centuries of enduring hardship, Japanese families forged it into a battle-tested financial system as solid as a fortress. That system stands on 4 core pillars. Reduce. Stop mindless desires at the front door before cash ever leaves your wallet. The Japanese practice this by drawing a clear red line in their minds. Do I truly need this? Or do I just want it right now? The gap between need and want it right now is precisely where most personal financial bankruptcies occur. True needs endure, fleeting impulses evaporate instantly. Reuse. Before throwing anything away, ask if it still holds functional value. In finance, this applies directly to your cash flow. Every time a dollar passes through your hands without being put to work, you're throwing it away. Frozen money earning 0 yield, money spent on junk sitting in a corner, money draining into forgotten apps. The reuse pillar demands that you assign a job to every single cent before it even arrives, forcing every dollar to have a clear destination. Recycle. In the language of money, recycling means redirecting cash flow. When you finish paying off a debt, cancel a redundant subscription, or kick a wasteful spending habit, that cash flow is instantly freed up. Average consumers immediately look for a new purchase to fill that vacuum, like paying off a phone. Plan only to finance a smartwatch. But the Mottainai mindset steps in instantly. Recycle those freed funds directly into an investment fund or long-term savings account. Don't waste what you just worked so hard to reclaim. Respect. This is the deepest foundation. Respect every single dollar you earn. Respect the hours of sacrifice you gave to generate that income. And respect your future self, the person who will suffer the consequences of your impulsive choices today. When you genuinely respect your money, reckless spending naturally feels deeply uncomfortable on a visceral level. Keiko, the invial art of accumulation. The philosophy of Mottainai would remain nothing more than an abstract spiritual concept without a practical tool to bring it to life. And the Japanese found that answer over a century ago. In 1904, renowned female journalist Honey Motoko sparked a quiet revolution by inventing Keiko, the world's first household budgeting ledger. She didn't design it for megacorporations. She created it for housewives and homemakers, the gatekeepers of family finances, to reclaim control over their financial destiny, down to the smallest detail. Honey Motoko understood that to manage money, you must first master the mind and unconscious behavior. The secret of the Keiko method doesn't lie in complex smartphone algorithms. It lies in the physical act of writing by hand. As the daughter flipped through the dog-eared pages of Mrs. Kos' ledger on the kitchen shelf, she realized with jaw-dropping clarity what the invisible art of accumulation truly meant. A traditional Keiko ledger doesn't split money into dozens of confusing categories that make you want to give up. It simplifies cash flow into 4 clean core categories: needs, essentials; wants, personal desires; culture, entertainment and enrichment; and unexpected, unforeseen costs. At the start of every month, Mrs. Ko sat at her kitchen table, handwriting the exact income she had coming in and her non-negotiable expenses. But the true game changer happened at the end of the month, when she quietly answered 4 reflective questions written at the bottom of the page. Did you reach your savings goal? How much did you actually spend? Where did you overspend the most? How will you improve next month? This was how Mrs. Ko gathered every tiny drop of water to build an impenetrable dam over decades. Cooking at home for a week, save a drop. Cancelling a hidden recurring subscription, add a drop. Repairing an old item instead of replacing it, stack another drop. Day to day, week to week, these drops are invisible. But accumulated over 12 months, 5 years, and 30 years of steadfast labor, they transform into an ocean of wealth. 3 actionable rules to start this week. To turn this ancient mindset into a financial shield against life's storms, start this week with 3 minimalist yet insanely powerful battle tactics. 1 financial waste audit. Tonight, set aside exactly 20 minutes. Open your bank statement from last month. Write down every single purchase on a piece of paper. Right next to each one, label it with absolute honesty using just one word: essential or trash. No judgment. If it genuinely made your life better, keep it. If you spent money and got 0 lasting value, it's trash. Awakening begins the exact second you see your leaks. 2. The 1-week pause. From now on, before making any purchase that isn't essential for survival, force yourself to wait 7 full days. Write the item down on a sticky note and set a reminder for next week. When the alarm goes off, ask yourself, do I really need this like I did 7 days ago? 80% of the time, the answer will be no. Give impulsive emotion 7 days to state its case, and it will collapse under its own weight. 3. The freed money rule. The moment an expense vanishes from your life, you cancel a useless subscription or kick a late-night delivery habit, that money enters its most dangerous state, because your brain will instantly hunt for ways to blow it. Intercept it immediately. Name that saved money and route it straight into an automated savings or investment account. Don't leave it sitting in your checking account for even a second. The daughter in Tokyo finally understood. Her mother wasn't living a life of miserable self-denial. She was wealthy because she lived intentionally. She respected every minute her husband labored, respected every hard-earned dollar, and respected the future of her family. True wealth isn't a soulless number flashing on a smartphone screen that leaves you spinning out of control. It's a mindset, a quiet internal discipline. Life is too short and your life energy is far too precious to be squandered on meaningless junk. Start protecting your future tonight, beginning with that 20-minute waste audit. If this story hit home for you and helped you reevaluate the value of what you hold, walk this path with me. In the next episode, I'll open up the original Keiko ledger and walk you through step by step how to build a system to keep 50% of your income while living a deeply fulfilling life. See you on the next step of this awakening journey.